Howdy, this is Severely Zero, and today we are going to be testing a new tell for the Myling. So with the new Chronicle update and the introduction of the sound recorder, it appears that the way that ghost sounds are handled a little bit differently. So it appears that when a ghost sound is supposed to happen, it will spawn in a sound object, which is why with the sound recorder you get a directional signal from where the sound is coming from. But the part that we're most interested in is this cooldown that happens. So with a normal ghost, after a sound has spawned in, another sound cannot spawn in for at least 80 seconds. So when you're using the paramic or the sound recorder and you have a normal ghost, you'll have 80 seconds at least in between chances for you to capture that audio. Now with the Myling, it's always had the behavior or tell that it will create paranormal sounds through the paramic and now the sound recorder more frequently than other ghosts. So the way that this was coded into the game as of this update is the Myling is able to cause those sounds to spawn in more frequently than 80 seconds. So the test that we want to do, and again we'll be doing tests proving a negative, so it could take some time, is we want to show that the Myling indeed can make sounds more frequently than 80 seconds apart. Now, it's somewhere in the 60-second range that it can create sounds, maybe even 65 seconds. So it's not going to be like every 10 seconds we get something. And it's not guaranteed to be before 80, like any other ghost that has a minimum. It could be way past that. So we're going to test this in two parts with the Myling that we have here on Tanglewood. We have the parabolic mic first. The ghost is in the blue bedroom. We're going to stand in the dining room so that we can capture the entire house, just in case it decides it wants to wander into the hallway, into the nursery, etc. But we can still hear the entire house from that. And we'll let it sit for an hour to an hour and a half, and we'll just keep track of how much time has elapsed using the timer on the parabolic microphone. Once we've done that, then we'll switch over to the sound recorder just to show that it's a similar thing. Because with the sound object, it doesn't matter if it's a sound recorder or parabolic mic, as long as that sound is getting picked up. So let's go ahead and head to the dining room. We're going to stand here and angle so the entire house can be heard. And we'll just wait for those sounds. Now, quick note, the only sounds that we're looking for are the ones that would be recorded as paranormal whisper, paranormal groaning, and paranormal talking, I believe, on the sound recorder. All the other sounds, such as door opening or the radio being turned on, do not count towards that sound. So, without any further ado, I will remove my face and we'll just listen. So it's been a half hour, it looks like. And it looks like we've gotten some sounds on the sound recorder. So let's go ahead and just show that this was indeed a Myling. Yep.
Welcome back.
So this should have given a pretty good baseline for what the Myling spacing is for audio, and we should have quite a few examples of it being shorter than 80 seconds between the different sounds. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do this with two more ghosts that aren't Myling. We'll stick purely to the parabolic mic because it's easier to hear and visualize when that's happening. And then we'll look at the end to see how they compare. So we'll be back with another ghost.
back. I've prepared some jobs for you. Welcome back. There's some jobs ready for you.
So I finished reviewing all of the sounds that were heard during these 3.5 hours of gameplay. Now it is very apparent with the numbers that the Myling is indeed a bit different. So I'll show the numbers on the screen for the Myling. And from this set of numbers, you can see that it talks a lot in a single hour of time. And we're only looking at the paramic, we're not looking at the sound recorder for these. But you can see out of all these times, it was less than 80 seconds 11 times. Some of them were just under 80 seconds, but a lot of them were still in the 65-second range. So it's very apparent, especially when you compare the demon and the Thay that we had, and you can see their numbers up there too for about the same amount of time that we were looking at the Myling, that hour of time that they had none below 80 seconds. And so I feel like this is pretty good evidence towards the claim that the Myling can make sounds more frequently than 80 seconds apart and does so um, somewhat regularly, which makes it a fairly decent test for the Myling. So we will be adding this to the cheat sheet. And because it's another time-based thing, we are looking into the possibility of adding a ghost sounds timer that'll work similarly to the other ones with audio cues, but it'll have a marker for the 65 seconds where a Myling can start to make um, another sound, and then the 80 seconds when any ghost can make another sound. So this was a very interesting one to see. It took a lot of time and a lot of footage to go through in order to get something that was somewhat conclusive. So hopefully you found this interesting. If you have anything else that you'd like us to research or look into, we take those requests on our Discord server, which is linked below in the description, and we hope to see you there. Thanks so much.